Rest is a trust process. So rest isn't reward, it's a requirement, and listening to fatigue builds trust. Welcome to day 18 of the 30-day self-trust challenge. I'm so glad that you're here. So today I want to talk about rest and how that works with us learning to trust ourselves. So the daily invitation today is to rest without earning it. And rest for a lot of us can feel super uncomfortable. So I wanted to walk you through why that can be and give you a little bit more detail in the script that I'm going to share with you today. Because rest sounds super simple, but for a lot of us, rest doesn't feel safe. It's not like it's physically unsafe, but it doesn't feel safe for our nervous system. Because when you stop moving, you stop outrunning yourself. So for people that have always used, being busy, answering messages, cleaning up, doing stuff for other people, moving their body, it's a way to stop from having those quiet thoughts underneath actually come to the surface. Okay, so it's a way to avoid thinking, am I doing enough? What if I'm falling behind? What if I'm not enough unless I'm making something? Like, to be busy is a protective response, right? It protects us from those thoughts and it gives us relief and it gives you structure and gives you proof that you're trying. So when you rest, your nervous system can sometimes interpret that as danger, not because rest is dangerous, but because rest removes that distraction. And suddenly we've got that space, right? We've got the space to really feel the exhaustion that you've been overriding, the space to notice resentment maybe that you haven't acknowledged, space to hear the inner critic that only gets loud when everything else gets quiet. So instead of rest feeling like relief, it can feel like exposure because it makes us feel more vulnerable because then we're able to actually hear those thoughts and have to sit with them. And our nervous systems learn to say emotion to help us stay regulated. So that can help you feel safe. So rest is actually a trust practice because you're teaching your nervous system something new. And I have to say in 2020, recently separated, moving into my own home, I really had no other choice during lockdown other than to sit, to rest. I wasn't working at the time because I was off with concussion symptoms. And it was hard because in my 20s, in my 30s, before I, got married, I would be busy. I'd be on the go. I'd be somewhere different every weekend, visiting friends. And that is probably, if I'm totally honest, that was probably the pattern I would have fallen in if I had the choice to keep myself busy so I didn't have to sit with everything at that time. My marriage ended, my mom was sick and ended up passing shortly after COVID started. But, by being in it, I had to actually sit with it. And that can be hard because, when we rest, we're teaching ourselves we don't have to earn rest. We don't have to collapse to deserve care. I can stop and I'm still okay. And at first, it might feel super uncomfortable. You might feel restless, guilty, pulled to reach for your phone or start doing something else. That doesn't mean rest is wrong. It means our nervous system is adjusting. So self-trust grows when you stay, when you don't immediately escape that discomfort by going back into motion, when you show yourself, I can be with myself even here. And when we think about feelings, I used to teach a craving wave in the emotional eating group I ran. And then I did another program with someone called Brain Game. And they use a similar wave talking about emotions. Like an emotion can feel super powerful, but if we actually sit with that emotion within 15, 30 minutes, that emotion's gone. And in letting that emotion move through us and recognizing it, then it's not getting stored for later to deal with. We're feeling it and it's moving through. And that's going to be much better for our health long term. Um, so, like if you're reaching for your phone when you have a few minutes or, feeling guilty watching a show in the afternoon, those are all signs that rest has been conditioned as something that you have to earn. But rest is not something that we have to earn. Okay. The invitation today is to rest without earning it. Okay. When we rest before we get completely exhausted, you're trusting that your worth isn't dependent on constant output. You're trusting that you don't have to abandon yourself to belong. You're trusting that slowing down won't make everything fall apart. And every time you let yourself rest without earning it, you weaken that old story that says your value lives in your productivity. Okay. And you strengthen a new one. I'm allowed to exist, not just to produce. So the invitation today, as uncomfortable as it might feel, is to rest without earning it. I rested even though my mind protested, could be an example. And if today feels hard, I want you to recognize, yeah, resting can bring up feelings, and that's okay. We don't have to fix those feelings. We can just notice them. But we can rest without earning it because resting is a trust practice. Thanks for watching. Come back tomorrow for day 19.